guys, we're coming up on the 2.5 hour mark that this has been tumbling. So what I want to do is I want to stop the tumbler and go ahead and show you how our progress has been going along. So anyway, off goes the tumbler. You want to shake this around a little bit. What that does is that causes all the pins to settle in the bottom. Now, I'm not going to get all snaky about it. I'm just going to reach in there with my hand. Probably a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, that's toxic and it's this and it's that. Well, you know what? It's not the worst thing I've ever touched in my life. Sometimes it takes a little bit of prying to get this thing to separate. There you go. Alright. So, let me steal a little bit of light here. Get our stadium lamp going here. Okay, well, we're going to go ahead and set that up. Right chair for right now. Let my hand off. One thing I really want to kind of, expand on a little bit here. So I want you to see just how clean this brass has gotten in the last 2 hours. Now if you take a look, I don't have a flashlight. Oh, wait a minute, yes I do. Now, if you guys can see down inside there, okay, you can see that the primer pocket is, almost pristine, and also, the outside of the case. The outside of the case is almost pristine. At this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to call this brass good enough. I'm loading this stuff to basically break in my rifle, and that's where we're going to go with it. Now, there's been other channels out there that I've watched, and there are guys out there that will sit there and turn their brass, with a neck turner, and they'll, they've got gauges that they'll go ahead and they'll mic, the depth of the primer pockets. They'll just do all this stuff, and then they'll go ahead and they'll load it in their stock out of the box Remington 700, and they'll expect to shoot like a bench rest gun. And you have to have custom chambers and things like that in order to really get the most out of all that work. Okay, if your results are different, well then so be it. But I have found through my experience that right there you can end up spending an awful lot of money on tools and equipment and things that you're never going to get the benefit out of. I mean, not unless you buy a custom barrel and have it custom chambered, and then go ahead and have your reloading dies chambered, and the neck thicknesses and everything like that all mic'd in there. You wouldn't be shooting, Sierra Match Kings if you had a chamber like that anyway. You'd be probably making your own bullets, or you'd be buying custom bullets from a manufacturer. And that's not what we're going to do. I'm looking at field grade, rifle. You buy it, you improve a few things about it, the stock and that sort of thing, and the alignment with your optical alignment. Your optical plane, the whole bit, get it centered in the bore. That's what I'm talking about. Real life. real use. You know, you're going to take this out and you're going to shoot it out there in the field, and you're going to go out there and do things with this that you normally wouldn't do to such a nice rifle. I mean, you know, I went and spent $625 on the rifle. I bought the stock. The stock was like $230. I already had the scope. I got a deal on that. I want to stay under, you know, a certain amount of money that I'm spending on this rifle. But, you know, I want to get the best results I can. So anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to call this good right now. I'm going to go ahead and drain this out and then separate the pins. And since I only have about 100 of these, I'm not going to get all crazy and have to pour this in my separator and do all that to it. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and, you know, fill this up with water, you know, and then take these and just drop them in there and, you know, let it go at that, and then drain the rest of this out through a strainer, and that way I don't lose any of the pins. So anyway, I'll be back. One thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and probably set this off and get it drying. Now I have a shoe rack. If you have a shoe rack for your dryer, you know, your clothes dryer, what you do is you set all your brass out on a cookie sheet and you put it on the shoe rack, and then you go ahead and you set your dryer for about 20 to 30 minutes, and when they come out, they're dry as a bone. Here's another thing too. I have not resized this brass for a reason, because I still have to swage the primer pockets, okay? And when I measure, okay, where I want my datum line to be, I'm going to want to do that in comparison to the rifle and make sure that I'm closing that gap up, you know, because headspace will make a huge difference in accuracy, you know. So that's one thing that you want to, you know, watch out for. I think that has more of a bearing on accuracy than actual bullet depth and that sort of thing. Granted, you have to have the bullet depth within a certain amount of thousandths of your lands and grooves, within about 10 thousandths you have to play with. But, you know, so be it. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and separate this stuff out and get this stuff ready to swage. And once I get it all swaged, we'll go through that, and then we'll go ahead and resize it, you know, get it all ready to go. So anyway, this is Thor's Axe, and I'll be back in a few, and we'll continue on with this.